All right, folks, and we are back with the Blamegirl podcast with
Mr. Terry Wayne.
And we welcome Gaetano in the house this week. Welcome, Gaetano.
Hello, everyone.
All right, folks, and we are back with the Blamegirl podcast with. I got
Mr.
so
Terry
many
Wayne.
windows open, and we welcome Gaetano in the house.
I thought you were doing it again.
Gaetano.
I was like,
hello, everyone.
No. All right, folks, and we are back with the Blamegirl podcast.
Perpetual loop.
We welcome Gaetano in the house.
Maybe the funniest thing you've ever done on this podcast.
I wonder if live. Hopefully we are. Okay, it still says live. That was rough.
Yeah, it's live.
I was worth 3 introductions. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
It threw me off. But
take it however you like it.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, welcome back, Terry Wayne. Welcome, Gaetano. Gaetano, how was your weekend?
Oof, rough. The reason you didn't see me Thursday was because I've been in bed for like three days straight. It's not COVID. I got tested a few times, but I must have caught this flu that was going around. I felt like death. I was just in bed asleep for the past 4 days. Like that, I assume you went Thursday, right?
No, I ended up working super late on Thursday, so I didn't even make it on Thursday.
Yeah, it was rough. Something's going around. I'm fine now. Clearly, but the past couple of days were rough. So everybody, not COVID. I got tested a few times. I caught this.
I did it again. I'm sorry. I was trying to share it on Facebook, but anyway. So you've been sick. You were sick over the weekend too, or?
Yeah, it was rough. But I'm good now. Back in action.
Doing better? Was it COVID?
No, it wasn't. I got tested. I got my shots, all that fun stuff.
So you'll be back out this week?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Terry, how was your weekend?
My weekend also sucked, which really sucked because this is the first time, and I can't even remember how long. I had 4 days off in a row. And Thursday night, or Wednesday or whatever, my hip started really bothering me. And then I must have slept on it wrong or something, pinched a nerve, because I can barely move. I can barely move. It hurts to sit down. It hurts to stand up. Every step is like somebody stabbing a knife in my hip. Like I can't. And of course, nothing's like people tell me, "Oh, go to the chiropractor." It's Labor Day, and none of them open. So,
got to get a back alley chiropractor.
Well, yeah, in Texas, I hear that's what you got to do. So.
Well, I wish I had something to add. I didn't really do much this weekend either. I hung out with some other comics on Friday. That was a lot of fun. Steve Lamb and Mendemo. And Saturday, nothing. Sunday, nothing. So I did some show prep.
I just saw Steve.
Well, you know what? I'm lying. On Saturday, I did do some stuff. I hung out. I went to the beach. I went to Pompano Beach. I had never gone there. Sucked a little bit because of all the seaweed, but I hung out with some old friends and then came back and I hung out with my girl Mindy. We've been getting her out. I told y'all she had the neck surgery, so it's good to have her back out again. We went to Cheesecake Factory, whose AC was broke and it sucked. Other than the shrimp that Mindy got was really good. We all sound like some old people. I
spent a lot of time at Pompano Beach. My cousin lived in Pompano, so we'd go out on the pier fishing, and we'd stay out there all night, literally all night fishing. And we were like 11.
It's almost like hard to believe you're from Tennessee because you sound more like a Florida native.
Back and forth.
Speaking of natives, a native woman in Alaska, Mary Peltola, she defeated the well-known Sarah Palin this week for a House seat. Did y'all see this?
Oh yeah, I told you about it.
Who's to blame?
I think Sarah Palin's to blame on this one because I know people in Alaska and they are very much not happy with her that she quit her job as governor and then went to do the reality TV thing, you know.
Yeah,
they're kind of looking at her like she's a little bit of an embarrassment because not only did she lose, but she lost to a Democrat in a state that's redder than Texas.
All right, but that's good that you bring that up. They do have what's now called
ranked choice voting. Yeah,
ranked choice voting, and that may have played a part. Gaetano, what are your thoughts here?
The people to blame are the voters. That's who they want in office. That's who they deserve in office. You know, she definitely did lose the control of the state when she stepped down, like you said, with the reality TV, which, you know, you do whatever you want to do, but you consequences of your actions. Now you lost your seat. And it's just changed.
And don't blame ranked choice voting, because that means that some people there wanted a Democrat ahead of Palin.
Yeah.
Because even if they voted for him first, they still had to put down a number 2, and it wasn't Palin.
You can go ahead and explain ranked choice voting, but that might be a reason why it wound up like that, because, you know, she wasn't even a lot of people's second choice. And yes, a lot of people would have preferred a Democrat and got one over her because she was such a bad candidate.
Well, ranked choice voting, in case anybody listening hasn't heard of it, it's the simplest thing in the world. We should have been doing it years ago on a national scale. You pick who you want to be elected, and then you just go down the line. Okay, well, if you can't have him, would you rather have this? If you can't have them, would you rather have that? So you're basically, you take the in this case, the 3 candidates that got the most, because if you can get more than 50% of the population's vote for you, you win automatically. If not, the top candidates go on a ballot together, and then you just put them in order of best to worst. That's it. And that is part of where she lost it, because I know a lot of those Republicans probably put him down and then put her down second, put Mary down second and Palin third, because, you know, a lot of Alaskans look at Palin as kind of embarrassing for them.
Yeah, she's trash.
She's a little beauty pageant, you know, trash. I mean, I'm sure she's a fine person, but she definitely has that trailer park queen vibe going for her.
So,
and they love their natives. The Inuit population in Alaska, they love Inuits.
She was the first native to have won a House seat. That's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Considering that the Inuits founded it, and, you know.
Gaetano, would you do me a favor and turn your phone the other way? Horizontally?
No. Landscape. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, cool. This is my first Zoom.
I said
anything.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
All right. Terry, you heard me. I said horizontally and I meant it. I didn't need you to correct me. Thank you, though. Thanks.
No, I said landscape because he moved it from the left side to the right side.
Oh, you're talking
fair point on that.
Okay. But so with regards to this election, I've been listening to a lot of progressives, and they are saying this represents the end of the Tea Party era, because it started with Sarah Palin, if you remember, when she was running with John McCain as VP. And it just spiraled out of control and became what is known today as the Trump Party. And like, people say it's over because she had an endorsement from Trump, didn't she?
Yeah.
So
of course, Trump
loves Palin.
Are you kidding me? Trump loved Palin before Trump was even in politics, you know? Yeah. I remember she went to New York, and he like showed her out on, like, took her out for lunch. That turned into the infamous Jon Stewart Pizzagate rant, where back on the Daily Show
before there was a Pizzagate, because
right about Donald Trump being a New Yorker, but he stacks his slices and then he eats it with a knife and fork.
Oh yes, I do remember.
You do remember? Yeah, it was pretty epic. But
him stacking the pizza and eating it with the knife and fork is like Texas Governor Greg Abbott busing Mexicans to Chicago. He is busing migrants to Democratic-run cities, y'all. Who is to blame? Why
His
are
chief
you
of,
doing this?
his chief of staff for thinking that was a good idea.
But
Or,
that's
or the
like, go ahead.
the Democratic states that are welcoming immigrants in. Like he's not busing all of them. He can't. That's first off. And then they're welcoming immigrants into those states. So when you have an influx of people into a situation, you do need to diversify them. And we're the United States of America. They welcome them in. From the articles that I've read.
But isn't Texas part of that United States of
Well,
America?
that's the thing. I really wanted to point out about this is the most overtly xenophobic thing that I have seen a politician, a sitting politician do in quite some time, because he didn't deport them. That would have been a conservative stance. Come in illegally, we deport you. He didn't deport them. He said, no, you can go to Chicago, or you can go to Seattle, or you can go to New York.
It's
just not in my, I don't care if you come in the country, just not in my backyard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's political grandstanding. It's like a DeSantis move. It's totally something
it's a terrible move, because if anybody puts that together where it's like, oh, so you don't mind if they're in the country, you just don't want them in your neighborhood. You know what I mean?
But I mean, is immigration really a problem? I mean, is he, like with regards to Texas, I know there's a large influx of people moving there from California. Are they being bused back to California? They're not illegal because they're U.S. citizens, so they get to just keep on coming. So I think that's what should happen. And then after that happens, they won't have to bust the immigrants anywhere, because they'll be more welcoming to them.
Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're going to take U.S. citizens and kick them out of your state and say, okay, and you think in a red state that's going to fly?
No, I'm saying that they can't kick these people coming from a blue state to a red state out, because they're U.S. citizens. And what's going to happen is it's going to turn Texas blue, and then they will welcome immigrants, and they'll be the sanctuary cities they once were.
Well, let's not advocate illegal immigration. Like, you know what I mean? Let's not advocate just flat out. Immigration is a problem, but it's not a problem on the border like they like to make it out to be.
1776, no.
It's not, but there's a path to citizenship. If I moved to Ireland, which was on the table for me for a little while ago, I don't get to just rock up in Dublin and be like, I live here now. Like there's paperwork I got to go through, there's background checks, this, that.
Of course, but sometimes you don't have the time to go through the paperwork. Sometimes you got the Mexican cartel after you, and you try to get the fuck out. And there's
a path to that too.
There is.
But they can get amnesty.
You got to get here.
Same situation with the Ukrainian refugees leaving in the fear for their lives. They had to go in through Poland. They had to go in through, excuse me, in my geography, but they had to be distributed across the European Union for housing. There's not the infrastructure that's available for the influx of people every time. And if we have democratic cities that are welcoming immigrants, regardless of their legal stature, busing them to those cities is the obvious solution, so that they have a safe place to live. It's not a political move. It may be garnering some kind of political,
political move if you're busing them
out.
Abbott's
definitely doing that for political points.
If you're doing it out of the state and you have sanctuary cities within your state, which they do, so
you can't bust all of them out. That's impossible.
But that can't be all of the illegal immigrants that are coming in, because the largest amount of illegal immigrants come in by plane.
Well, ports of entry is the number one. So right across the checkpoints, they come with a visa, and they overstay the visa. That is the number one way that illegal immigration happens. But this is totally
like, oh my God, all these Mexicans, get out of here. Go to Chicago. They'll welcome you. Well, because they love to use Chicago as a dog whistle. It is racism. I agree with you, Terry.
Well, and here's the main point. Have you ever driven through the Midwest? There's nothing. It's nothing but a rust.
With you, right? Is Ohio Midwest? I don't know.
Yeah, sort of. Well, it's nothing. It's nothing but wide open land, farmland, and rust belts. That's really all it is.
That's most of the country.
So you can't tell me that this wasn't a I'm going to own the libs move, because that's all it was, is political posturing to the right, because you went all the way through the country from south to north through all this open land and said, no, you go to Chicago, way, way, way up here. It had nothing to do with, I don't want them in my state. It had to do with, I'm going to send them to a Democrat city.
Yeah.
I'm going to send them to a blue city, and that'll show them.
That made a statement that they were welcoming anyone regardless of their citizenship. You know, that was a statement in the article that you posted, is that they made, the mayor, I think, made a statement that we will welcome anyone regardless of their legality in this country. So boom.
Yeah, Mayor Lightfoot loves to tout the responsibility of her city to welcome all regardless of legal status. And I look forward to seeing this responsibility in action as these migrants receive resources from a sanctuary city with the capacity to serve them.
And he called her bluff and said, okay, here they come. But it's again, it's just posturing, because how many immigrants you get on a bus? 100, maybe. Problem solved. That's stupid. It's nothing. It's for an article. It's for a news story. It's about getting airtime and column mentions.
Well, if these people, these human beings that we're discussing so flippantly, have a better chance at life there because they're in a city, then let's see if it works. You just got to try something out. They're diversifying the impact that illegal immigration causes in our country. My grandparents came through Ellis Island, and I'm proud to say that. It's a beautiful thing that I got to experience. But there was an influx of Italians in this country not too long ago where we had similar problems. I never experienced it, and I can't say I did, but that was something that happened in this society, and we had the ghettos of different cultures in New York, in Chicago, and all in New Orleans actually has a huge Italian population I didn't know about. But that's just what we're faced with right now.
But it's every time something's new. That's what xenophobia is. Every time something's new, you know, whether it be Black people first coming to Europe and then to North America. It happened with the Italians. It happened with the Jews. It happened with the Irish. It's happened with the Armenians most recently. Like, I mean, anytime something's new, you're let's just call them less educated, less insightful folks. That rather than educate themselves on who they're dealing with, they'd rather just fall to their assumptions, and they'd rather just fall to their fears. And that's what happens. And Republicans and conservatives, you know, they tapped into this 3 decades ago, and they said, oh, if we just scare them, they'll do whatever we want.
Absolutely.
Which is funny to me, at least, ironically, because when I think of modern day conservatives, I'm thinking about when I was a teenager and conservatives. You know, those were the tough guys. Those were the strong guys. And it's like now they're afraid of their own shadow. All they have to do is say something like, oh, there's a caravan of immigrants. There's a migrant caravan. Yeah, a migrant caravan of poor, desolate people with nothing but the clothes on their backs, and you're scared of them?
I think that really it's just a dog whistle. It's a way to pander to the base. He's running against Beto O'Rourke, and they are coming for him. But you know why? Women's rights. Those women in Texas are pissed about Roe v. Wade, and you're gonna see it play out on the campaign trail. And they're going to be doing stuff like this. Oh, let's bust migrants so they know that we still hate immigrants, even though we're pro, you know, like, because I'm sure some of these women that, you know, they're trying to pander to them because maybe they'll be afraid of immigrants coming to like break their house down because that's what they're criminals. Like Donald Trump said, you know, what did he call them?
Rapists.
Yeah.
And murderers.
Those. Speaking of rapists, I don't even want to call them rapists. They're not rapists, but they are being accused of something just as abhorrent as rape. And it's 2 comedians, Tiffany Haddish and ariesspears. They are under fire for a skit involving underage children and sexual innuendo. Did y'all see this video?
I didn't see the video, but I did have to read the article because I saw some things online about it, but I didn't really understand. So as I read it,
the video is bad.
It's who's to blame them to think that would ever fly. They got this because if they would have had like an adult play a
That's what I
child.
thought today. I was like, if they
Yeah.
were gonna do that, they should have had a grown up playing the kid. That's
Right.
not
You
hard
put
to
a
do.
little spinning hat on him, everybody gets the deal. He's the
They
kid
had
in
a
the
kid
thing.
in their underwear in this.
They had it, they stripped him down to his tighty whities, man. Come on, you can't.
And had him
I know
playing
it's
with toys and stuff. It was just so, I heard there were 2 videos and I didn't even look for the second one. I just watched that first one and I was like, oh my God.
and Ariesspears really ain't even that funny. Like it's just not. He does good with impersonations.
My aunt is going to see him tonight, so he's still a working comic, apparently. Gaetano, what are you?
You'll never get rid of working comics over cancellation stuff. That's
Gaetano, what do you think?
Well, they have the splicing now that they do, which I appreciate when they have children involved, like when they're doing a sex talk and they'll splice to an audience full of kids and make them react to what the comic or the actor was saying, but the actor's not in the same room as the child or the children, so that they make the children react to what they're saying, but they don't actually have to witness it. That's a healthy way to tout that line. But I didn't see this video either. I was more focused on the court hearing that they're describing in the article, where the mother of the 2 victims, if you will, it is no longer involved in the court case, which could be a buy off. Like, did they pay off the mother to stop supporting the kids?
They're not involved because the kids are of age now.
Yes, but
she doesn't have to be involved anymore because she started with the lawsuit and whatever, but now the kids are 18 and she doesn't have to be a part of it. So
doesn't have to be, but wouldn't you still want to be after your kid's 18?
But you can't. I mean, you don't need to be. Like, yeah, she's probably there supporting them while they try to prosecute the case, but she doesn't have to be filing on behalf of them or anything anymore. That's how I took it anyway, as a legal professional. But I think that from my reading of the article, mom was who pushed it in the first place. And I mean, after watching the video, I can see why the mom pushed it, because it was creepy as fuck, and I wish I would have never seen it. So y'all don't think this is just cancel culture at work here, but Terry, you said you don't think cancel culture will work in this case. So you think Tiffany Haddish and ariesspears will continue to get work?
Well, I said for a touring comic, a working road comic is very hard to kill, because as long as you're selling tickets, you're going to get booked places to, if you can sell tickets, you'll get booked.
Through and through.
Tiffany might not get any more movie roles for a long time. You might not be invited on, television shows or to do acting gigs. But if you're selling tickets, clubs will book you. That's that.
So let me ask you this. There is a line or no? Because it sounds like there really isn't if you're a touring comic, is what Terry's saying. Do you think there's a line, Gaetano?
There's a line, but whether it affects your job or not is like he said, it's capitalism. You can't kill a money machine. If they're going to sell tickets, they're going to sell tickets. People go to Klan rallies still. That doesn't mean that it's
the market that will kill them. It's like they lose enough ticket sales because of this, which I don't think they will. My aunt was telling me she had tickets for ariesspears tonight. I hadn't even thought about ariesspears in years, but he's a touring comic. And I told her about it, and she's like, "Oh, I wonder if they're gonna be protesting." That's all she said. She's not like, "I'm not gonna go." But again, I watched the video. Y'all didn't. She didn't. So. Oof. Anyway,
I'm gonna watch it. Unfortunately, I hate watching that stuff, but
it's bad. Like he's like, in the video I watched with him, he's like, she's like the girlfriend, or was like, "Hey, watch my kid," right? And leaves, and he's like sitting there. He's like, "Okay," and he's like watching through a newspaper, like cut out eyes, and the kid's just in underwear, and he's like playing on the floor and moving. They zoom in on the kid's butt. And then there's a part where the kid's like simulating sex with the train, like jacking it off. So
they took a shot at comedy.
Used an adult to do all that. This wouldn't even be an article right now. This wouldn't be in our purview. But they used they've used 2 kids and in their underwear. It's awful. So I don't know.
It's a shame.
Well, I mean, look, man, that's just poor judgment. I mean, I'm all on board that cancel culture and PC culture in general has gone way too far. Just because you look at some of the instances, I think a lot of it has done a lot of good, calling out sexism, calling out racism, I'm all for that, all for it. But a lot of these problems, some of them are just niche. If you take like the whole trans debate, it's such a big debate right now. And I looked it up because I was like, is there really that many trans? If there were so many trans people, you thought you probably think I'd know a dozen of them at least throughout my life. I've met like 2 in my whole life. And so I looked it up and it's like 0.8% of the population. It's not even a full percent. Why are we having, everything stopped over the one issue?
About minorities, though, you got to look out for their rights mostly, and they're even a smaller percentage of the minority, and they are suffering. So that's why,
I get it, but it's like this national debate where the whole society has to stop and put their little 2 cents in. And I say this about people on both sides of the argument. People that are transphobic and people that are, allies, I mean, if you don't like trans people, okay, don't be friends with one. Who gives a shit? Like, it's such a small percentage of the amount of hillbillies and rednecks in the middle of God's country, in the middle of nowhere, that is so concerned with the trans issue that blows my mind. It's like, you'll never see one unless you go on vacation. Okay, just stop. You don't have to worry about that.
They're so worried somebody gonna try to trick them. That's all it is.
It's so stupid.
They're so toxic.
And you know what?
They're so worried about people trying to trick them. They're missing their politicians trying to trick them, like they're doing in Michigan. In Michigan, lawmakers have gone above and beyond to block the will of the people. And by saying that, this is what they've done. The people put a pro-choice measure on the ballot, right? And Republicans kept blocking it. And at the end, when they couldn't block it anymore, they blocked it because the spacing on the text was too fucking close. Who's to blame, y'all?
It's grabbing at straws. If you can't, they can attack it for something that's defined of how you have to submit a document. They just have to resubmit and put it back on the next election. It's a shame. What?
I said that's some total bullshit. Because
total bullshit.
You gotta wait a whole election now. So all these people, whatever.
I'm not agreeing with
what's the point of? Oh yeah, no, but it's so frustrating because it's like, what's the point in all this procedure when you follow it, then you still get this kind of bullshit. But
we didn't follow it correctly. No, you're fine. We're having a conversation. I might have cut you off, but they grasped at straws. They found the one little chink in the armor that forces the vote. You don't give the fight. It's not the end of the fight because of this one situation. You have to just go back at it.
Definitely not the end of the fight.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who. Look, I'm not a huge fan of either political party, but I think it's pretty obvious the ones that want to just do what they want to do and could give a fuck about whether the people enjoy what they're doing. The Roe v. Wade thing is a pretty obvious example because what was that in Kansas where they put it on the ballot and it just overwhelmingly lost when they were trying to block abortion rights in Kansas. And I mean, it just overwhelmingly lost. And I could not imagine a red state in the middle of flyover country more than Kansas. Okay, do you know what's in Kansas? Fucking nothing. I've driven through Kansas. There's nothing but wheat fields and slack-jawed idiots there. There is nothing in Kansas. Nothing. There's like 8 people and they all wear MAGA hats. And even then, they said no to that. So I think, well, good if you agree. If you disagree, if you're one of the 20% in America that disagree, it's bad for you. And I'm not gonna run up the score on you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make you feel bad, but this is a working representative democracy. And if the majority of the citizens want something to be one way or the other, that's kind of what we're supposed to fucking do. And using little loopholes and we'll work the system and this and that. All it does is make the entire system weaker on both sides. Because once you set precedent, guess what? Your political rivals, they're going to use it next time against you.
Absolutely.
But they just fight so dirty. They change boundary lines.
Hey, why don't you tell that to Merrick Garland? He's supposed to be on the Supreme Court.
It's just exhausting, this dirty politics game. But maybe, like I said, just to bring it back home with the Sarah Palin loss, maybe this is the beginning of the end, and maybe we can stop this and we can actually work as a team again. Like, Jesus, like, can the United States be a team again?
Well, I don't want people to think the way that I think. Because, that's a dictatorship, and I should definitely not be a dictator. I am not smart enough nor capable to run anything. However, I do want people, especially people on the conservative side, to just bring it back down to earth. You know what I mean? Just put one foot on the ground. Your guy lost the election. It wasn't rigged. It wasn't stolen. It wasn't. I know it wasn't. We all know. Can we just stop the fucking madness for 2 seconds and just go, oh, that's my neighbor, not my enemy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just bring that shit down. I want to go back to the time when nobody had political rallies that could fill an arena. You're not the Stones, man. You're a politician. And one of you isn't even that. You're just a reality TV show host who decided to become a politician. I say the same thing. I see stuff for Biden. And, oh, yeah. What? For what? He's not, you know what I mean? He's not a rock star. He's a bureaucrat.
I don't think anyone's like that. I mean, they're not that enthusiastic about Biden, like they are for Trump.
I've seen it. I've seen it for Bernie Sanders. I've seen it for Hillary
Bernie,
Clinton.
Yes, I'll agree with
I've
that.
seen it for Hillary Clinton. None of these people are rock stars. None of these people deserve that kind of admiration and acclaim.
No slander towards Bernie Sanders will be tolerated on Blamegirl platform.
I will put it on Obama too. And I like Obama.
I said Bernie Sanders. No slander.
Okay. I'll put it on all of them. You're politicians, you bureaucrats. You're supposed to be pushing papers somewhere. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not playing lead.
They are pushing papers and they're like, oh, this paper, those letters are too close. I can't read them. That's what they do. That's bureaucracy right there. The fact that they can say, oh, I can't, it's too close. You can keep the will of the people off the ballot with that bullshit, and that I don't know. I'm like just so over it. Over the lying, over the game.
Well, it's not going to be that much longer. I don't know if you realize, but we got a little election coming up here in November. So
what I want is like for it to be done and me not to have to go back through this shit during my living years, like when it happens again, because history always repeats itself. Can it be like after I'm dead? That's all. Like, I don't want to have to be regressing while I'm still alive. Let me see the world progress. And then if y'all want to regress after I'm gone, do it. I don't care.
Hey, listen, they're doing much, much worse than that. Especially conservatives in Georgia. They just redrew the districting lines, and a female congressman just got kicked out of her own division because they drew her out of her own district.
I'm just so sick of it. It's
she doesn't even live in her own district anymore, and it was all to separate. It was all to compact all the Black voters into one district. So as before, they were kind of split over two. So it's called packing and cracking when they redraw districts.
Very over the racism, like very over the racism.
Oh, I don't even think it has to do with the racism. I think it's just that Black people vote
they want to
more
keep
often.
all our vote together and don't want it blended in with the rest of the country. Clearly,
well, they do it with all. I'm just using this one as an example, but they do it based on political affiliation. You know what I mean? And if you can bet your ass if that district was black majority and was all voting red every year, they wouldn't have touched that with a 10-foot pole. To be like, nope, this is one of the good ones. We got to leave this.
They can't get those votes in masses. You know, they can get those one-off.
Yeah, they can't get those votes because,
Herschel Walkers, but you can't get.
He's not gonna win.
No, but I'm saying he'll vote for him.
No. Well, I mean,
he's gonna be voting Republican. He's probably been voting Republican,
Well, yeah. If you got money, you generally vote Republican.
Yeah.
Because it's all self-serving.
You got money and like 3 baby mamas, 2 illegitimate kids, probably voting Republican. You're right.
Well, I don't know what that has to do with anything. But Republicans always go to the people with money and they go, hey, if you get me elected, I'll make sure you get to keep most of your money.
Keep it.
Yeah. You don't have to pay taxes. Let the poor people
they tell them.
that.
I know. And most people do stick with the Republican if they got money. I don't know. I just hope that if I ever get money, I can just take that little hit, because it's more money than I got now, And I don't mind.
Well, it's personal responsibility. You want to live in a free country. You want to have a military might that the world has never known before. You want to have freedom. You want to have a choice. You want to have this. You want to have that. Okay, well, chip in.
Populist. I want
chip in a little bit. If you had 5 friends come over and you all ordered pizza, and everybody ate the same amount of slices, but 2 people didn't chip in, you'd throw them out of your house. What are you talking? You know what I mean? Or you, at the very least, would hate their guts. Jeffrey Bezos needs to be put in one of his rockets and shot the fuck into the sun.
What did Jeffrey?
We made him the richest man on earth.
Amazon delivery
today? Piece of shit.
You get a late Amazon delivery today, or
no, but he used this country to become the richest man on earth, and he won't even chip in for the pizza. Put him in a rocket, send him to the sun.
Yeah. Because he don't pay taxes. He don't want to pay taxes.
No, Amazon rarely, if ever, pays taxes.
Well, I think our guest here pays taxes. Not
we'll see. I want to see some W-2s.
That's just the transition. But okay. Yeah, I don't know. You're doing anyway. He is a comedian. He's the host of Scum comedy events here in Palm Beach County. Welcome to the podcast, Gaetano. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I love this. This is filled a void in my life that I didn't realize I had, and it's been beautiful ever since.
Do I sense sarcasm?
No. That's a genuine thing. I really do love what I'm doing. Producing has limited my comic growth for sure. That's why this month for my birthday, I'm giving myself 20 minutes on my own show. But still, I'm giving myself a 20-minute spot on 3 shows in a row just because I've been so overwhelmed with producing and marketing and corralling cats with these comics that I haven't given myself my own opportunities. So I'm really proud.
Gaetano, how long have you been doing comedy?
I stepped on stage for the first time December 12th of 2021. So I'm not even 2 years in yet.
Okay. December 12th.
You're not even 1 year in.
Yeah, you're not even
2021. So now
December. We're not at December yet.
Then I'm in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a 1 year. Yeah, I've had 2020. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, December 2020. So you are a little over a year.
Post pandemic, we don't count when you can't remember what year it is. That's fine.
Well, you're very new to this, and you are already you're producing your own shows. Let me ask you this. This is going to be a little weird for you, and I'm going to limit you in some way. What is your favorite venue to perform at? And you can't say the Improv.
The Improv.
No. Or my own.
Or your own.
I figured that was.
You can say your own. It's fine.
No, I said he can't say his own. It's not fine, Terry. Don't undermine me.
Oh, well, it was my rule, so I thought that was my thing.
The Improv was your rule.
Okay,
but
I expected that. So I've only performed like 3 other shows that aren't my own in a year and a half or 2, whatever it's been. Not because I don't pursue getting booked because I'm so overwhelmed with everything. Like, you know, now with a weekly show that I have to organize and the monthlies come around so quick. I did Black Box twice, which was fun. The second time was my first ever on stage booked show was Black Box. I died 1,000 deaths. I hosted it for Chad
Oh,
Ridgely.
wow.
You were there. You were on the show, and I messed up your name, and you made a joke about it, and that's your thing. Like you do that to everybody. But I'm like, oh my god, I messed up her name. I'm having a
Oh,
panic
you thought
attack.
I was serious? That's funny.
Yeah, yeah. So like that was a great room, and I really don't have a favorite because I've only done 3 other ones. You know, I did a Cabo bar once, which Cabo bars, we all know how Cabo shows go. They're it's great experience, but it wasn't the best. But Doghouse, actually, I got my first ever like said my joke, got a laugh, great. I let the room die down and went to go say my next joke, and they erupted in laughter again for the first joke I said, and that was the first time it ever happened to me, and that was one of my best experiences. And that was Doghouse in Delray, the improv comedy
Well,
thing.
I can't ask you what your favorite moment was, but you did say
Oh,
that was one of them.
yeah.
Let's rewind. So, out of your venues, which one is your favorite?
Propaganda. Propaganda is like the seedy underworld that I expected comedy to be when I got into this, and not for anyone's fault, but I didn't see it in our scene, so I built it. I'm like, I want a 2 a.m. room. I want somewhere where after everyone does their shows, we could all get fucked up. We could all enjoy. Okay, I could curse on this, by the way, right?
No,
That,
we're
no.
sponsored. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I've been cussing constantly since we
Yeah,
started.
right. Fair point. But yeah, propaganda. I love that grunge, that like, you know, no hold bar
I love
freedom.
it. Yeah, no, propaganda, there's just something about it. And it's something also about that like fucking communist ass symbol behind you on the stage. And then I just know before I was a comedian, I went and saw Dustin Diamond there and I had a blast. It was so we were like packed in, but yes, there's something about propaganda. I agree with that. So, was that your favorite moment that you shared with us, or is there another moment that stands out with you? Your favorite, your proudest moment?
Just the again and again when I am sitting at 9 or 8:45 and the room's empty and I have a show at 9, and then I walk back in at 9:02 and the room's packed. Like that's such a beautiful feeling because I'm always nervous, I'm always stressed, and people come up to me asking me, is everything okay, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. This is a production. This, like, I've run a company before and I treat this like my business, so I am fully invested in
So
making this
your
my
proudest
success.
moment sounds more like something that like
Every time his show is full.
from
That's
a
his
from a
proudest moment.
producer standpoint, but what about as a comic?
Yeah, I guess that double laugh thing was my proudest moment. That, like, really the thrill I got from having to not continue my set because they were still laughing from the last joke after they calmed down.
Yeah,
I was in like cloud 9. It makes me
that is
feel
great.
good.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be great.
Well, I mean, look, having run 5 rooms on my own, there's nothing worse, nothing more stressful than having comics ready to go, having a venue that's paying you, having everything done, and then nobody shows up and you're like, oh my God, and you're sweating bullets and you're like, where the hell is everybody?
I had 72 people responded to my last propaganda show and 26 people showed up. And that's still a decent show for 26 audience members for what we have in our scene is great. And I run my numbers. I keep all my numbers logged of how many people say they're showing up, how many people actually show up. So like out of 72 people, 26 people showed up. That's bad ratio. And we still had a good time, but it's like, yeah, it's soul crushing when you put all this work into getting it together, and then
it's 33%. That's 33%.
Yeah, that's
show up from you.
I think
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I'm
if you
spoiled.
want more people, you just got to get more people to respond than that. You know, that sounds really good from what I like. I know we did with CP Post in Orlando at Fat Fish Blues. We did a show. And same thing, you know, that you do the Eventbrite tickets, whatever before. And she's like, I got, 50 people responded. And when the show started, I was like, I can't believe I drove up to Orlando for like this many people, but I was hosting and people started to trickle in. We were trying to like postpone it a little bit. Of course, you want to always start a little bit late because people were fucking late. And then I got on probably about 15 minutes after, and I started going, and then it filled up, and it was like,
Mhm.
so it seemed like she got probably about 30% of like whatever the
Mhm.
50 was. Maybe not, maybe more than that, but she got
Yeah.
like a few bit of people coming in. It was off the free Eventbrite thing. So
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but when they teach you marketing, they tell you to plan on 20%, right?
Maybe.
I,
If
I believe if
I
I'm
don't
remembering
see it.
correctly, yeah, they tell you to go for the 20%. So
okay.
if you're at 33, you're doing good, I think.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Well, that
good.
was yeah,
And
that
you
was one
know
of my
what? You know
worst
how I
ones.
know you're doing good? Because for open mics, you always have crowds. And we don't always have that. A lot of times you'll go to open mics and the crowd is us. And it's not
Yeah.
it's not as like we're fun, or you don't learn as much because it's just different when you're performing in front of comics that have seen you over and over and over again, especially if
Absolutely.
you're doing stuff that you are trying to work on that they've already heard. So
Mhm.
anyway, so what's been your biggest challenge doing all this? Not necessarily producing, just from a comic standpoint, or but you can do either one.
Yeah. Well, the comic standpoint is my production is limiting me, and I'm kind of at a crossroads where do I go down in history as Mel Brooks or George Carlin? And if I'm a better Mel Brooks than I am George Carlin, I might just have to go that route full fledged. But I'm going to give myself the opportunity this month to see if I could do 20 minutes straight, and if that works, I'll have to learn to balance it. But I also work a full-time job, and that's ridiculous, like doing this and that and all of it, and then having a social life, trying to go to the gym, eat well, like, and
Hell
not
yeah.
abuse my body after the shows or during. you
Hell
know
yeah. I know what you
hmm
mean. Those are all fucking challenges. Speaking
hmm
of, I'm glad you're like bringing up that you're a real person and you work. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what's your day job? Where you from originally?
well, I moved
Any
down here
projects?
I
Go
moved
ahead.
down here in 2003 from New Jersey, and that's why that tax comment's funny. You should live. My We moved down to Florida like any good Italian, mysteriously in the late '90s, and I worked with my father for 10 years running a very big construction company where I would run crews of men by myself as like a 23-year-old, 80 grown men underneath me, subcontractors, hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake if I mess up because I didn't have the right contract with the right supplies and the right timeline. We don't hit our marks. We don't get our draws against the full bill, all that fun shit. So that's what I've taken and put into comedy, my skills that I developed over those years doing that. But I stopped working with my dad because I had all my guns in my car ready to leave Florida when there was a hurricane coming because
Uh-huh.
I was leaving. And he's yelling at me about a subcontractor that needs to get paid. I'm like, Dad, I don't give a fuck about this contractor. I just need to get out of the state. There's a hurricane on its way. And he's yelling at me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to drive up to fucking New Jersey right now and shoot you in the head. And I didn't really mean it, but I also kind of meant it. And that's where I realized I need to we need to stop this working relationship. So I lost a business partner, but I gained a father, and I'm really proud of myself in that moment. So
This video is admissible in court, right?
good. Yeah, I gotta watch myself, but it's a heartwarming story, I think.
Thank you.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but now I just work a call
Patricide.
center.
We
Yeah,
got Mary Smith in the house in the YouTube. She said Lake Worth rules. I think
oh, Mary's awesome.
yeah.
To quote one of my favorite local comics, Lake Worth, there's no lake there and it ain't worth shit. So it's got the
Terry, you
No,
got to get Mary Smith on. I met her for the first time a couple of weeks ago. You know Mary Gaetano?
I met her at one of my first ever shows that I produced. Brian Coronado introduced me, and he's like, I just say hello to everybody. Like, I run my rooms and I try to get to know every single person that's sitting there. And he's
Uh-huh.
like, you don't know who this is? She's a legend. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, cool. And then she actually came to my defense recently because I had some trolls. Sorry, my light went out. I had some like older women trolling my fucking promotion about my show, yelling about like saying how who's gonna stay up that late to drink and eat? It's a Thursday night. No, like honestly attacking me for just producing a free comedy show. Like I don't force you to come. And I
it's
didn't.
a late word. Really? Who's gonna stay up that late?
Everyone.
Yeah.
All of Lake Worth. And we all know why. So I'm really proud and happy that I have a support structure like Mary and a few other of my angels that stepped in, because I couldn't go and attack these older women on this public platform and telling them off as much as I wanted to, because that's just bad taste. But then when my friends stepped in, or the people that have seen my shows, and like my other friend was like, I was at his show last week and there were 100 people there. That's who's going to be there. Like, shut your mouth. And she stepped in, and Alex, another friend of mine, Cole, another friend, like a bunch of people stepped in my defense to tell them, who cares what you think? Don't put this guy down for chasing his dreams.
Well, you know? I mean, but that's the internet. Like, you always got somebody that's going to be the Debbie Downer on the post. Somebody you got to. If you get a lot of comments. But so do you have any other projects going on? Podcasts?
Yes, I can't stop. I'm addicted to it. I'm hosting trivia nights now, just as like an aside separate job. I want to be full comedy in like 2 years, or full production. So the more I have under my belt in my repertoire to offer a venue, the better I am, I think. So if I could take over a venue and do the Thursday trivia, the Friday comedy, and the Saturday whatever, I'm going to do that. So if any comics want to do trivia host for me, it's paid. It's not like I'm not asking favors from anybody. I always treat like if I can pay you, I will. Everyone has to eat. I'm not making a ton of money, but I'm looking at the long-term investment in this. So,
and speaking of, I noticed that you have transitioned. Are you ready to play the blame game? I should ask you that first, because we're about to play.
Sure.
Ready or not? Time to play the blame game. I noticed you've transitioned from open mics to book shows. Who's to blame for that, Gaetano?
The crowd, the audience. I work so hard to bring out an audience for us to perform in front of. And when I bring them out and they see the same comics doing the same jokes, working the same material out, they don't show up as much. And I still fill the room with new faces all the time. But I've noticed that again and again, I'll have a full room of people with no reoccurring faces. And they've come to me and they're like, hey, I love your show. I love to laugh. I love comedy. But you have the same comedians doing the same jokes. And it's no fault of the comic. You can't write a new 15 minutes every other month. That's a lot.
That's what an open mic is for, is to work on your jokes.
This is a problem that is plagued not just the South Florida comedy scene, but a lot of comedy scenes where you get somebody with a show, they'll book the people they like, their friends, the this, the that, and then they'll go and they'll have another show, they'll book the same people on that one. And it's been going on since I've been doing it. But there's so many comedians looking for time. There really is no reason to ever have to double up that much to where an audience member would actually remember you. And not only remember you, but remember you and remember your jokes. Because like take this show, for example. We've been doing this for what, over 2 years now, Gio?
Yeah.
We've had maybe 3 people on multiple times. But mostly it's just a new face every single week because there are so many out there. So there's really no reason to inundate somebody. I mean, there's better performers and there's, some people that material just does better, the majority of the time. But that doesn't mean that if you get a comic coming out and it's not one of these people, it doesn't mean they're going to bomb,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing booked, because when I did open mic, I don't have the heart, or I would never tell someone that showed up for my open mic, you can't perform. I might move them around a little bit for my own benefit or the benefit of the show. Like,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I reserve every right to do that. But I'm going booked so that I already contacted people out of Miami, people out of Broward, people out of Tampa, Orlando. And I'm trying to bring a couple of them down or up to every show so that I have fresh meat to offer my audience that wants to come out, and they don't want to see me. They've already heard all my jokes. So I have to step down as a host and just be a host, throw in a couple little things here and there, hire a host so that they don't have the same host every time, but still produce the show and own the room myself. So that's where I'm going with the book, because it's the audience is to blame. They want more, and I'm going to give them more. It's, it's not a comic lack of talent. It's just we need to give them fresh meat, give them blood.
Well, but Miami is a particular one. I'm glad you mentioned it, because the Miami scene's kind of like this little nucleus all by itself. And a lot of those comics do not venture out of Dade County. They barely venture out of, Brickell. So, so I mean, it is their own little microcosm, but I think it is important to get around every once in a while. I mean, I'm doing less of it these days, but I'm 11 years in, but
yeah, I have to always remind myself that about Terry, because like I want him to be out with me, but he's already done this for years, and so.
But my first 5 years, you'd catch me at Speak down in Miami every Friday night.
Yeah.
You didn't get paid, but they had good barbecue for sale outside. They always had a great crowd.
I'm rolling up on 4 years, and I'm slowly getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I can't go to every open mic. But my thing is, I write so much. I want to be at every open mic, but it's expensive. I have a day job, and I've been doing this for 4 years. So I'm like, it's wearing on me. So I can see how you get to the points where you're like, well, I'm only doing these book shows and just, open mic here and there, or whatever. But I don't know.
I mean, not to mention just time.
But I think
takes its
with Gaetano, what you have when you produce a lot of shows, you're always on stage every week. You have these set times where you're giving some material every week. So, and I think that's what's key, is like, make sure even when you are you're in Terry's spot, you make time for it.
Well, I think that Gaetano did the right thing here, because I did the same thing when I started. I did it for about 6 months. And I thought, okay, well, I need to get more stage time if I'm going to get any better at this. So I just started a show. And any young comic, if you don't think you're getting enough stage time, start a show. You will get all the stage time you can handle every week. But then you got to be careful what you wish for, because, like you said, Gaetano, you got regulars coming back. This is something I learned in my first month of having a show. Was I've got these same regulars coming back every Thursday night. I can't just go up and do the same 5 minutes I've been doing. So I had to go up and literally have a new 5 minutes every single week. And a lot of the times it wasn't great, but I did learn how to do crowd work. I learned how to get them involved, how to think on the fly. I think it's the best thing for any young comic to do is start their own mic.
Touch the stage, or just touch the stage as much as you can. Because I think.
No, but starting your own mic means you're going to be there every single week. And that's a new hurdle. It's not that
easy to just start your own mic. I've tried 2 mics, and I can't be like, I haven't been successful doing a mic. You know what I'm saying? So that's.
I guess no one can.
What do you say?
I said, I guess no one can then.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's not as easy as you say. Not everybody can.
It's absolutely as easy as I say.
I guess white men can just walk in there and be like, yo.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Just a confident person that says, hey, I'll bring in people here that will spend money, even if it's just the comics. Give me $100 and I'll put together an open mic for you. That's it. It's just that simple. And in 3 weeks, you made back the money you spent on the sound equipment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go do that in a week. Go back in a week and just get a mic. Then, if it's that easy, please show me.
Is she challenging me, Gaetano?
I think so. I just want to make it known it's not going to be on Lake Ave. Lake Worth has already spoken.
Oh,
okay. Well, first of all, I had a show on Lake Ave long ago.
I know.
Yeah.
What was it? The German place. We talked about this.
Yeah.
He used to have a German wife, so he probably exploited her to get that spot.
No, I got it on my own. I didn't even know the woman was German until they met.
Oh, okay.
And then they started speaking German to each other, and I was like, oh. So
I got this place on lock.
Little
right?
Munich was the name of that
Little
place.
Munich,
Right.
there we go.
So, Gaetano, do you have any upcoming things you want to promote? Or your social media, or both? Just give us what you got coming up this week.
Scum comedy every Thursday at Blueprint. We have a dinner special that I implemented as part of incentivizing people to come out to the shows. It's little things like that that you got to do to get the crowd in and also get the comics in. You know, we all spend a lot of money doing this. Like you mentioned, I'm glad you said it. Like doing open mics it's expensive. It's a bar tab every time, and even if you don't spend a bar tab, gas exactly, and your time waiting an hour and a half to do 5 minutes. That's a lot of work. And
I'll take my computer sometime and just keep working, you know?
Yeah. But then I'm this month, September 22nd, 23rd, 24th, I'm doing the Guilt Trip Comedy Tour for my birthday. For all those people that always wanted to come see me perform, well, now's your fucking chance. They got 3 days in a row. Pick one of them, come see me, and I'm going to do my 20 minutes. See if I can actually cut it as a comic.
And those are going to be at which venues?
My only venue. It's all downtown Lake Worth. Library. Blueprint is going to be Thursday. Library's Friday. Propaganda Saturday. And it'll be a 3-day thing. I got comics coming up from Miami. JP Tower. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing his last name correctly. He's bringing 2 comics. I got some Broward people coming that are already like booked. Again, it's hard. Like you said, the money's not what we're all doing this for today. So I'll give them gas money. I hope if I can make it work, I will make that work. It's worth the investment on my end to take a little bit out of my money. Like my work to support my comedy habit. So I'm trying to bring up the Miami
bucket. You need to put them buckets out.
Yeah, people tell me it's all so like get a Cash App, Venmo, whatever. On a bucket
to get tips so that you can pay it forward to the comics, especially
absolutely.
If you need me or Terry for your birthday shows, let us know.
Absolutely.
I rarely, if ever, made money on any of that because I was paying, and most of my shows were all booked. So I was paying the headliner. I was giving drink coupons to the features, which came out of my money. And then by the time I paid for the sound equipment and everything else in my own tab, I mean, pretty much just push.
A wash to hang that night.
Yeah.
Well, and then you spend your own money. Like,
yeah, if it doesn't cost me money, I'm happy. I got the experience and I enjoyed myself. If I cover my own tab for the night and I buy my friends drinks or something for showing up, that kind of stuff.
Like selling weed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly like selling weed. Yep.
All right. What are your social media handles in case anyone would like to follow you online?
Scum comedy, Scum_comedy on Instagram. Look for the smile. And you can follow Tano_comic on Instagram. I have like 380 followers with 0 posts. I want to see how far I can push that just out of my sick, twisted narcissism. But other than that, just come see Scum Comedy, and we're expanding. I'm making it a team. I got Nico, I got Ryan Panucci, I got Patrick Price is coming in. This new guy Trace Rossi he's an up and comer, but I'm bringing him in, and I'm gonna be.
Trace got a podcast going. We gotta get him.
Yeah, I did his podcast last week after Ryan.
Oh, you did.
Then, so I'm just following Ryan. I can't wait till he gets on Joe Rogan so that I can go next.
All right.
I'm sure that's right around the corner.
Y'all get out to Lake Worth. Check out these Scum comedy events. Like he said, Thursday you got Blueprint. And is it every other Friday?
No, it's once a month. Those are kind of just sporadic pop-ups.
Okay.
Yeah, library.
Just follow him if you want to find out when his next events are at those particular venues. All right, it's time for Terry Wayne's words for white people. I've just been waiting on this.
Well, if you'll notice, I got my Tennessee Titans hat on because football is about to start. If you're football fans, and I just wanted to tell everybody, I know we all got a team, right? But the big choice is that we chose that team. We chose that team to support. When I was growing up, Tennessee didn't have a football team. So I could choose anybody. I could choose anything, any team that I wanted to follow. So that's why this week we're talking about allegiancy. Okay? Because just like I chose to follow the Tennessee Titans and I chose to support them, that works the other way too. Because I also didn't choose to be male. I didn't choose to be white. I didn't choose to be born in America. So whenever some of my honky brothers and sisters out there might start thinking and looking down on other people because they're not like you, or maybe that little racist monster or that xenophobic little demon in the back of your head starts telling you, well, maybe we're just God's chosen people. No, because you didn't choose. You didn't choose to be who you are. You got dropped in this vessel just like everybody else, and you're doing the best you can. So I guess mainly we're not just talking about allegiances, but we're talking about arrogance, and we're talking about looking down on somebody else's life like you know their story, like you know what situation they got dropped into. Just remember, when you put yourself above everybody else, they can just knock that pedestal right from underneath. Because again, you didn't choose it. You just got put there. Well, what about all the work I did? Well, what about how hard I tried? Yeah, lots of people did lots of work. Some of the people that I've known throughout my life, which has been pretty varied, at least professionally. And most of the people that I've ever known that have worked the hardest are not people that you would see and go, oh, they're there because they work so hard. No, they're still on the bottom rung of society, but they got 2-3 jobs making little to no money. It's because they do work hard. They have to. You choose to. So just remember, some things we choose, some things we don't. Be careful what you align yourself with, because that pedestal gets pretty narrow at the bottom, champ.
All right. You hear that, white people? Get off your pedestal. Terry Wayne said it. I didn't.
Yep. I
Anyway.
said it. And I'll say it again.
I said Terry Wayne said it. I didn't say it. I'm not on a pedestal myself, so I'm not a white person.
Oh, you put yourself way on a pedestal. I am a strong woman. Don't mansplain to me. Yeah.
See, that's what it takes women to be on a pedestal. You just got to tell them don't mansplain, and then you hide.
Yeah, but you say it about everything. I said, hey, move it to landscape. And you remember?
Talking to me.
And she was like, he didn't need to know that. I said horizontally. Well, you don't know that? What if he don't know what horizontal means?
I thought you
knows what landscape means.
I thought you were correcting me, sir. And
I wasn't correcting you.
I thought that's what you were doing.
He was mansplaining me.
I'm so used to it. And all mansplained from early ages. Like last week, I was hanging out with Mindy at the pool, and fucking this kid tells his mom, chill, mom. Dad lets me go to bed later. Mom flipped out on his ass. And I was
well, that's not mansplaining. That's what every kid does.
He mansplained to his mom how to raise him.
And if his dad was telling him to go to bed, he would say, Mom told me that I could stay up later.
Dad.
Kids work their parents against each other. I did it. You did it.
But he mansplained it and he said, chill, Mom.
Well,
Dad doesn't
just entertain the fact, Gio, that you may, just maybe, might be a little bit sensitive to this particular issue.
No, I think y'all are sensitive to the issue because y'all.
I could give a fuck.
Someone tells you you're doing it, and you do it to men. You even do it to men. So, and I'm sure as a child, terrorist. So, anyway, Terry, do you have any shows coming up this week?
No, I will be. Oh, actually, yeah. I guess if they're still doing September 11th at Dania, I'll be there for the Florida's Funniest. Maybe, I don't know.
If you get picked.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I haven't done it in a while.
Oh, that's Sunday. Damn, it's already time for Florida Funniest, and they ain't even announced the people yet. That's crazy.
I don't know. I just wanted to do Dania. I hadn't been there, and I was like, $25. Who cares? I just wanted the stage time. So.
I thought about doing it, but I was like, I could be wasting $25. What if I don't get picked? So
you got your time on stage.
But
that's all I was paying for. I don't really care about getting picked.
It wasn't a bad idea, but what if you don't get picked? Then you just
I've done it and got picked. I know what happens later. It doesn't
No,
matter.
I mean, what if you don't even get picked to be one of the 12 people, you know?
Oh, well,
So.
I mean, I have a little bit of confidence in myself.
Okay. So I've got coming up.
I mean, I gave him that New York set as the video. That was pretty fire. Just saying.
I am tomorrow, actually. I'm in Sarasota, guys. Anyone who's listening from there, probably nobody, but nonetheless, just in case. I will be at CP Post. She has a Tuesday ladies comedy show at Witzco Challenger Trailers. Yeah. So, and then
Why does
Saturday,
this sound like a trap? This sounds like a trap. It's a ladies' comedy show. Come down to the warehouse.
I don't think it's a trap. Stacy Steele, I saw her at the last show with CP Post, and she told me that it's a really fun room. So I believe it. And then
I believe you're going to get human trafficked.
then if I don't come back on Wednesday, you will know that I've been human trafficked out in Sarasota. But me and Joanna. But on Saturday, I'm at the So-So, which is here in West Palm. I believe I am. I was already confirmed, but the host hasn't really been promoting it, so maybe I should follow up. But just in case, September 10th, I'm at the So-So. It's a Neil Berliner show. So
Neil Berliner.
yeah. Other than that, we'll see you next week, guys. Hang in there, Gaetano.